Flute. One of the oldest known musical instruments, the flute traces back over 40,000 years to prehistoric Europe and Asia, where early humans carved it from bird bones and mammoth ivory. These primitive flutes had simple finger holes and produced haunting, airy tones that likely accompanied rituals or storytelling. What makes the flute remarkable is how little its core design has changed. Air blown across an opening to create sound remains the same principle today. Early flutes discovered in caves suggest music was already deeply tied to human expression long before written language. The key turning point came when ancient civilizations like Egypt and China began refining the instrument with more precise hole placement, allowing for controlled scales and melodies, transforming it from a simple noisemaker into a structured musical tool. Drums. Drums are among the earliest instruments used by humans, emerging independently across Africa, Asia, and the Americas thousands of years ago. Originally made from hollowed logs and animal skins, they were essential for communication, ceremonies, and tribal identity. The drum's design is deceptively simple, yet its cultural impact is profound. It could signal danger, celebrate events, or guide dancers in ritual. Early drums varied widely, from frame drums to large war drums, each adapted to local needs. The turning point in drum history came with the development of tension systems, such as rope or peg tuning, which allowed players to control pitch and tone. This innovation elevated drums from purely rhythmic tools into more expressive instruments, paving the way for their central role in nearly every musical tradition worldwide. Harp. The harp originated around 3000 BCE in ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, evolving from simple hunting bows. Early harps had a curved shape with a handful of strings, often decorated with intricate carvings and used in royal courts or religious ceremonies. Their soft, resonant tones symbolized elegance and spirituality. Over time, harps became larger and more complex, with more strings added to expand their musical range. The key turning point came during the medieval and Renaissance periods, when the harp frame was strengthened into a triangular shape, allowing for higher string tension and improved sound quality. This structural evolution enabled the harp to produce richer tones and more dynamic performances, securing its place in both classical and folk traditions across Europe. Lute. The lute emerged around 2000 BCE in the Middle East, later spreading into Europe during the medieval period. With its rounded back and multiple strings, it became one of the most popular instruments of the Renaissance. Derived from earlier instruments like the oud, the lute introduced frets, which allowed musicians to play precise notes and complex harmonies. Its versatility made it ideal for both solo performances and accompaniment. The turning point in the lute's development came when European musicians standardized tuning systems and notation methods, enabling more sophisticated compositions. This innovation helped lay the groundwork for modern string instruments and musical theory, influencing the development of the guitar and other plucked instruments. Organ. The organ's origins date back to ancient Greece with the hydraulis, a water-powered instrument invented in the 3rd century BCE. It used water pressure to regulate airflow through pipes, producing powerful, sustained sounds. As the instrument spread through the Roman Empire and into medieval Europe, it became closely associated with churches. Early organs were massive and required multiple operators, but they created an unmatched sonic presence. The key turning point came in the Middle Ages when bellows replaced water systems, making organs more practical and reliable. This advancement allowed organs to grow in size and complexity, eventually becoming central to Western religious and classical music with intricate keyboards and vast arrays of pipes. Violin. The violin emerged in the 16th century Italy, evolving from earlier bowed instruments like the rebec and viola da braccio. Crafted by master luthiers such as those in Cremona, the violin was designed for clarity, projection, and expressive range. Its curved body and F-shaped sound holes were carefully engineered to enhance resonance. The violin quickly became a favorite in orchestras and solo performances due to its versatility. The turning point came with the standardization of its shape and tuning in the Baroque period, allowing composers to write more complex and expressive music. This consistency transformed the violin into one of the most important instruments in Western music, influencing countless genres and styles. Piano. The piano was invented around 1700 by Bartolomeo Cristofori in Italy as an evolution of the harpsichord. Unlike its predecessor, the piano used hammers to strike strings, allowing players to control volume through touch. This dynamic capability revolutionized keyboard music. Early pianos were smaller and quieter, but they quickly gained popularity among composers. The turning point came during the 19th century, with industrial advancements, including iron frames and improved string tension, which increased volume and durability. These innovations allowed the piano to fill concert halls and become a centerpiece of both classical and popular music, fundamentally changing how music was composed and performed. Saxophone. The saxophone was invented in the 1840s by Adolphe Sax in Belgium, designed to bridge the gap between woodwind and brass instruments. Made of brass but played with a reed, it offered a unique tonal blend that was both powerful and expressive. Initially intended for military bands, the saxophone struggled to find its place in classical music. The turning point came in the early 20th century with the rise of jazz, where its flexibility and emotional range made it a defining instrument. Musicians embraced its ability to bend notes and create rich, soulful sounds, transforming the saxophone into an icon of modern music. Electric guitar. The electric guitar emerged in the 1930s as musicians sought a way to amplify sound in large venues. Early models used magnetic pickups to convert string vibrations into electrical signals. This innovation allowed the guitar to compete with louder instruments in bands. Initially used in jazz, the electric guitar found its true identity in rock and roll. The turning point came in the 1950s with solid body designs, which reduced feedback and increased sustain. This breakthrough enabled new playing techniques and sounds, turning the electric guitar into a symbol of musical rebellion and creativity, shaping genres from rock to metal and beyond. Synthesizer. The synthesizer originated in the mid-20th century as an electronic instrument capable of generating entirely new sounds. Early versions were massive, complex machines used mainly in experimental music and studios. They used oscillators, filters, and modulators to shape sound waves, offering unprecedented control over tone. The turning point came in the 1970s with the development of compact, affordable synthesizers, which made them accessible to mainstream musicians. This shift revolutionized music production, leading to the rise of electronic, pop, and hip-hop genres. Synthesizers changed not just how music sounds, but how it is created, marking a new era where technology became an instrument itself.